What up? So it has been a long while since I've done a video. A lot of things going on at work, my kid, some other stuff I was in. Now due to this quarantine, COVID-19, I got some free time, so I'm gonna do something else to this truck now. Hopefully maybe y'all will see how I do it. There's many different ways you could do this. I'm just gonna do it the way I want to. So I have a set of 2019 Ram 2500 taillights. They're different than 2018s and down. I'll explain the differences in this video. But I'm gonna have to rewire the harness to make it work the way I want it. I could do some other stuff, but I'm not right now. But figured I'd get this done. It's a nice day. It's about 55 right now. It's getting cooler though because the night's coming. But nothing else to do today on a Saturday, so figured I'd get this done. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is my Ram. Y'all know it. You've seen it. Tradesman, so you don't get the LED tail lights. So you just got the basics. So let's pop this tailgate down. Oh, and yeah, I finally hauled something for the first time. I hauled a bunch of wood. So I got these. Oh, I gotta thank my buddy Bill for hooking me up with these. Ordered them through his dealer. So, in case you need to. Let's see if it'll focus here. There's one part number. 6840-9003-AD-001. And then there's 6840-9002-AD-1. So what these are, this is something else I gotta do. But here's the tail lights. Wow, look at that difference. Oh man, that's a big difference, isn't it? I don't know why this foams. Must be because of the light in the garage is my guess. Yep. So there's a stock tail light. And there's the new tail light that's going on it. So if you want to be able to tell, I think that's going to look real good on this orange truck. So yeah, that's going to be sweet. Alright, so now that I got the garage doors closed a little bit here, now you can see a little bit more difference here, and you're noticing there's a big difference in these lights. As the factory one's a 2-bulb, the new one is a 3-bulb. So that is the issue we have to work on, but these tail lights will bolt directly into this truck. The beds are the same from the 19 and 20 as the older models, so these go right into the factory locations. But I think that black and 3-bulb style look was going to look a lot better. But so we'll get into what's going to happen here. So the old trucks versus these new trucks. Back in the day, if you wanted to change tail lights, it wasn't that hard. You could change a harness, you could wire in extra bulbs, stuff like that. So the stock truck on this is a 2-bulb, whereas 19 and up is a 3-bulb style system. Even the LED tail lights on this style, mine, the 18, is a 2-unit system, whereas the new one is a 3-unit system. So you have a blinker bulb, a brake light, reverse light, and your park light. So there's four functions, but 3 systems. On this truck, there is brake, park, and reverse. It's 3 systems, but 2 bulbs. So because this truck runs a CAN bus system, nowhere online have I been able to find how the blinker system works on this truck, the turn signal system. All of the wiring pretty much goes to a main distribution block, and then it goes out from there. Some of your older vehicles say you had a blinker system. You would have your power ground and your blinker wire. So you would have 3 wires. Some of them were 4 because you had your power ground, brake, and run. It all depends on how they did the wiring on these vehicles. So this truck, my 18, it's different because it has what's called a bulb sense out system. So it's a smart bulb system on this truck, on the whole truck. So you have your power ground and then a sense wire, which senses if the bulb's working or not. So the way it works on these systems is it's voltage controls, variable voltage. So the park light, the blinker, and the brake light all run off of 1 wire. So you got your ground, and then your power is your trigger wire. So it has a certain voltage for your running light, a certain voltage for the brake light, and then it sends an intermittent signal to turn it on and off for your blinker. And then it has the sense wire to tell you if the bulb's actually working. Reverse is the same thing. It's 2 wire power ground. That's it. So on the 19s, what they did is they changed the system. So you have your 2 wires for your reverse. You have 2 wires for the separate blinker bulb that is in these tail lights. And then you have your 3 wires for your brake park. But unfortunately on the 18s, there's no way for me to actually incorporate that blinker bulb into this truck system so it would work independently from the brake light, marker light system. I could run a wire from the front of the truck, from the front blinker, all the way to the back blinker of the truck, which is a waste of time, but I could, and it would make that blinker bulb flash like it's supposed to. But at the same time, my brake light is going to flash with the blinker. That's the dilemma. There is no way to actually wire this truck up the way I want to make it to where I could actually use the blinker system on the 2019 and up taillights. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make both the blinker housing and the reverse light 1 unit. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to run 2 reverse bulb systems, reconfigure the harness, and wire it into 1. So I'm going to have the top light is going to have brake and park and turn. And then the middle one and the bottom one are going to be both reverse lights. The bulbs I'm going to run, if you watch one of my previous videos, I run the GTR lighting 1000 lumen reverse lights. I'm going to be running 2 of them in each light. So I'm going to have a total of 4000 lumens when I put it in reverse. Now that's just what they rate them at. It's not probably what they're actually putting out if you try to scale them, but that's what they're called. They're 1000 lumen rated reverse lights. So we're going to get into how I'm going to change this harness and modify it. And yes, you're going to have to modify your stock harness on the truck and modify the harness that comes with this. Luckily, what I did is I went out and I also ordered, which I'll show you, the I ordered the OEM 19 and 20 taillight harnesses. So you can buy this and it comes with all of your connectors, your pins, and everything else to terminal these. And you can connect it straight to the harness that's on the tail light. On the 18, there was really no disconnect. You had the bulbs that plugged into each unit, but on this one, on these 19s, the harness is part of the tail light, even on the halogen style. So I got 2 of those, 1 for each side, and we're going to switch these around. Okay, so here is the back of the passenger side. So you can see you got your tail light, which is 3 wires. So you got your power, your ground, your sense wire. So this red wire controls your parking light and your brake light. And then the white one is your sense wire. Tells you whether the bulb's out or not. All right. Then you got your blinker, which is on these 19s and up. You got 2 blinker wires. And then you got your reverse, which is 2 wires. And then you got your connector that the 19 and up use, which is a 6-wire system. So you can see in this one, there's your blinker bulb that we're going to take out and replace with a reverse light. That's where your normal reverse light goes. And then this is your brake light. Luckily, my LED bulbs that are in my tail lights for my brake lights will go right into those. So I don't have to buy different bulbs. And if anybody is wondering what bulbs these take factory, so if you flip the housing over and you look on it, I don't know if this is going to zoom in or not. Let's see. But the bulb numbers are on, come on, really, 7443. And then if you go down here, 7440. And then these weird little motherfuckers are PWY 24W is the bulb number on these. PWY 24W. So some of you might be like, what in the world kind of bulb is that? So Chrysler, since they're owned by Fiat, went ahead and went to like a European type bulb in the blinkers. You pull one of these out. These are actually in really freaking good for some reason. I've had this one out before, so this one might come out a little bit easier. Let's see. Yep. So there is the bulb on these. That is a weird little fella, isn't it? And it's got a weird base to it. I'll set this down real quick. So these are 24-watt bulbs. So if you've ever seen the new Rams and the blinkers, like, man, that's bright. This is the type of bulb it uses. This thing is weird. Now, you're not supposed to really touch these bulbs with your oil, so I got to wipe this off anyways. But you never should touch them because you'll blow the bulb out. But yeah, I mean, even the color of this bulb is weird. It's got like a purple hue to it. But it's an amber bulb. But yeah, that's the connector. I mean, this, where is it? I mean, look at this. Look at the base on this one. It like clamps in. It's weird. But it's a European style bulb is what they're using. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start by taking one of the stock tail lights off, and I'll show you this harness, and we'll see how we're going to reconfigure this to work on this truck. So these tail lights come out pretty easy. They got these little screws, and there's 2 of them. There's a hole there and a hole there. Pretty much you just pop them out, and then there is 2 plastic clips that hold these tail lights in. So you got 2 clips that hold them in there and there. Unfortunately, this one's busted, which I don't know how, but it is. But as you can see, there's only 2 connectors, and they're separate in this harness. So let me get this tail light off, and we'll go from there. All right. So I made some advancements, found an issue, and I was able to solve it. So I'll have to show you what I did on that one, but okay. So let's move this over here. Scoot the stock tail light there. Let's bring over this one. Bam. Now, oh, wow. Shit. Look at how much more shit we got back here. So, imagine these up. You can see the difference on them. But like I said, the bed is identical on the 19s and 20s. So they didn't change the tail light area. So these bolt directly in. I've already test fitted it, and it fits just fine. Now, here's the thing. So this is where these 1000 lumen reverse light bulbs were in my truck right here. So I'm pull these out. I went to put them in here thinking they would fit. Absolutely not. So let me open this up. So these are GTR lighting, 1000 lumen, but they are for 7440, which is the same style bulb that's in the stock reverse light. These bulbs will plug directly in here, but also you will need a second set of these for this reverse one, for this blinker one. It's the same size hole. So if you look at them, well, I already got the grommets in there to fit mine, but these holes are identically the same. The actual opening is just about the same size. So a second 7440 version of these. Come on. Really? I hate this phone sometimes. So there's the part number. Oh my Lord Jesus. 7440. I got two of them to go in the actual reverse part. And then, like I said, I modified a grommet that fits in there, that these will slide in, twist, and lock. Though there's a ridge on the grommet, which you can't see, that this rubber ridge will slide in between here and lock this bulb in. So those will go right in there. But yeah, that's what these are. These are the 1000 lumen GTR lighting reverse lights. They are bright. And I'm going to do only one side at a time so I can actually take a video of what it looks like with two of them versus just one of them from stock. So should be fun. Let's get into figuring out this wiring. So here's your three wires on your brake light. You have ground, power, and sense wire. And then you have your power and ground. Like these aftermarket ones, set this one off to the side. So you have, like I said, you got power, ground, and sense. At least Chrysler got smart and used three colors instead of red with green, green with yellow, or whatever the hell, different colors. So it's all the same. And then it goes into one connector. So I got to wire these into these. So I have to wire these together. So I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do it, but I need to wire these into the reverse lights also. So most likely it's going to be on the harness side. I'm going to take this harness and I'm going to wire both of these reverse lights to the same wire. So when it comes out the other side, it's just going to be one wire that I can wire into the truck for reverse, for two wires with power and ground. And then the way this works is it actually has two ground wires. So at least I can keep those grounds separated, and I can put ground to this wire and ground to that wire, so I'm not grounding the same wires to one. So I can still use two. And then obviously you'll have your three wires here, because they have this reverse light grounded to this tail light, and then it runs up into here. So we know this isn't ground switched, because if this was a Chrysler ground switched unit, whenever you hit the brakes, it would turn on these wires, both of these lights, if it was ground. So it is a 12-volt positive switched light. So green powers this, red powers this. So we know that's simple enough. Same with this. Yellow powers this one. So, because some Chryslers, they have it's ground switched. Some things have been ground switched over the years, and I hate ground switched setups. I like positive. So we're going to get into figuring out this wiring now. I got to go look up the diagrams for this. I have them. I just got to pull them up and go from there to figure out which wires are going to do what. All right, so I have this thing called a Mini Max. It can be used to jump start your car once or twice. It's got a flashlight. You can charge your phones off it. So it's like an extended big ass battery, but it's also used for jump starting your car. So it comes with these little jumper cables. Also, you can use it to test lights. So I can test to make sure it'll work in reverse. So no matter which way you put it, it works. Sorry that it's flickering because I'm moving it on the wires, but that's a bright light. So I verified that that one works no matter which way you put it. So technically, no matter which way it goes on this harness, it's going to fire. But off of Chrysler schematics, ground is ground, power, yellow is power. So that's the way I'm going to wire it. And I did have to cut off the connector from the stock one because I need to hardwire these in because there's no other way to put them on, because these wires are solid stated, pretty much epoxied in to all these connectors. So this one I have to cut off as well and hardwire the light in. Now, these GTR 7440s, the reason they're called 7440s is here, I'll show you on this one, is I'm supposed to be able to unplug this bulb, and it comes with a bulb socket type on the bulb that just plugs in like a regular bulb. But I really don't want this hanging around inside the opening of the tailgate where the light goes, so I'm just gonna hardwire it and be done with it, because I gotta modify these anyways for the truck, so I might as well just make them work, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we're gonna do. Alright, so if you could see, if it'll focus, we went ahead and I soldered the connections. So that's what I'm doing, instead of just, you know, using quick connects like let's say, you know, these, which on something like this, I mean, it can be effective if it's temporary, but if it's going to be solid, like permanent, solder it. So I got them soldered, tested them with the Mini Max. Connections are good. I got the heat shrink that I'm going to slide down and heat that up, and then we'll get that one done. Alright, we got the heat shrink on there. So sealing that back up, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap it in electrical tape, because I just want to make sure that it is covered and sealed. Even though this is good, I just want that little bit extra. So I'm going to do that to this one, and the same thing to the other side. So I won't be showing the other side doing this wiring. We'll just skip that because that's just going to be this side. So once I get this wired up, then we'll get into doing the truck side wiring with the connector. Alright, so this is day 2. I ran into a little issue. Had to order 7443 LED taillight bulbs. I forgot that the ones in the stock headlights are 3157, so they will not work in these. So I had to order the correct LED bulbs. But as you can see, my connections are soldered, and then they are shrink wrapped on both, heatsink, shrink, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm adding electrical tape over top of them to make them a little bit more stiffer, so there's less chance they'll bend. So I gotta wait for these bulbs to come in, and then once these bulbs come in, I'm gonna continue making this video, and we'll get this all figured out and on the truck. Alright, so today we got everything tested up using a multimeter to verify my diagrams for, you know, which wires went to what here. So you got the power for the reverse, ground for reverse, you have the bulb sense, which one is it? The bulb sense out wire, power wire, then ground wire for the brake light, blinker, running light. Now that we got all of that, this wire obviously is not going to be this long. This comes in the kit like I showed you. So we're actually going to hack it right about here, and then I'm going to wire it into the factory harness. And yes, you do got to cut these off the way I'm doing it, because I'm using the brand new 2019 harness style connectors. So it's a single connector, so you don't need this anymore. What I am going to do on this is, since there is a reverse circuit, I'm actually going to make a splice in the reverse circuit power, and I'm going to leave an opening, but I'm going to have it capped. What I'm going to do is I want to leave an opening in case, you know, some guys, you know, you off-road bumpers, you know, you put like more backup lights here or whatever it may be. So I'm not sure what the plans will be with this truck, but I'm going to leave an opening for another power. It's going to be soldered and shrink wrapped, so in electrical tape, so it'll be good inside the harness to sit there.
and that way I have access to additional reverse lighting if it ever comes to that point. So we're getting there. We're gonna get this done and wired up today. We got the tail lights, everything ready to go, and stay tuned. We already got them tested, so I made sure everything works, you know, with the circuits, multimeter. Uh, but I'm gonna do the video in this too, showing you one side done only, so you can see the difference in comparison. Alright, so I wanted to show some of this soldering before I actually wrapped it all up so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm using this stuff right here, 4 ounce 6040 .032. It burns very quickly, it melts. It's very easy to use. I'm using the map gas, real easy. So as you can see if it'll focus here. Probably not. There it is. So you can see that it's soldered all the way through on the wires. So it's a solid soldering through it. And then I'm going to use the heat shrink. The ones that come with these connectors, okay, have the glue in them. They're the adhesive backed. So they're 3-to-1. God, I hate this thing. Oh, it does not want to focus. So these are 3-to-1. I wish it would focus. There it is. So these are 3-to-1. So it goes to 1/3 of its size. You can kind of see the shininess in there from the adhesive. So that actually is like a glue. So doing a test hit on it, just to see on one of them. You can see the glue that's sticking out right there on the bottom. And this is very hard. You can't really even bend this thing, and there's no wire in there. So I mean, it's just, I mean, I gotta physically look at the pressure on my finger to get this thing to bend. So the adhesive backed ones are a lot better than the ones I was using, so I'm switching those. I'm going to use the ones that came with them. But yep, so those are soldered up. I'm going to close these up, and then I'm going to start with the tail light. All right, well, we got the first one in and done and wired up. And I think there may be some differences in the beds from the last model year 18 to the new 19 version of the 2500s, because taillight doesn't sit exactly like the stock one does. So I think they did make a minor change to the bed that everybody thinks the beds and stuff are the same. I don't think they are. I think they're different. But I made it work. But I'll show you exactly what I'm looking at. But at least from a distance, you can see the stock taillight versus the 19 Blackout series halogen style taillight. So to me, I like that one a lot better. That looks a lot cooler on this truck than that style right there. So let's take a peek. There's your stock one. Come over here. That's your Blackout series one. Now you tell me which one you think's better. This one or that one? I'm going with the other one. This one right here looks good to me. Now remember, on the 19 you got brake light, reverse light, and blinker. But on this truck, there is no 3-bulb system. It's only a 2-bulb system, and there really is no way to wire in the blinker unless I run wires from the front of the truck to the back of the truck to run this independently off the front blinker system of the truck. There's no schematics for the multifunction switch to make like a relay trigger harness off of that to run the rear. But either way, I'd still have to run an entire harness from the truck, from the cab of the truck somewhere or front of the truck, all the way to the back of the truck. And to me, it's just not worth it on this 18 to have a functional blinker in that bottom, when on this truck, this one here is your park light, your brake light, and your blinker. So this middle one that's a reverse is my reverse, but also this one is a reverse too. So I have 2 reverse lights. So, and then what I'm going to talk about real quick is I want to show you this gap. So if you look right here, you see really no gap. It lines up with the body just like it's supposed to. All of this is the same on the 19s. These new taillights line up just like they're supposed to. As you'll see, the design lines up just like it's supposed to all the way around, but look at this gap. You can actually see part of the bed. So again, flush, no gap, no bed side, but on this side, you can see part of the bed side sticking out. So that tells me that these beds are different from the 18 to the 19s. So not too sure what they might have changed, maybe how the tail light mounts into the side, but there is a difference, and there is a slight gap. But I can live with that. I don't think that's going to make, I think for anybody that would switch to them, I don't think that's really going to make a big difference. I mean, it's literally the tail light's over, it's up against the cab all the way. The side, not the cab, the side of the bed. So, I mean, you're going to have that little gap all the way down. I think that's just how the light's made. And maybe the 19 bed is a little bit different. But next, I'll show you the light differences. All right. So there is just your running light. As you can see, it looks it's a lot bigger on the driver's side than the passenger side, but the actual intensity is a little bit more. If you look at it, it's condensed on the passenger side of the new tail light. So now I'll put on the four ways and you'll be able to see the difference in that. So that'll be your brake light, four ways, and your blinkers. So you can see by looking at it that passenger side, because it is smaller, but the way the lens is made, there's a higher intensity. It's closer together is the way I put it. So there's a higher intensity with the bulb for output in the housing. Whereas the driver's side, it's more scattered, spread out. So in my opinion, the reflector on the new tail light for the 19 has a better way to put the light output out. Now there is your reverse lights. So now you can see the stock reverse light, which is a halogen bulb on the driver's side, versus the 2,000 lumen LED lights on the passenger side. This view really doesn't do justice as much, but at night, once I get a video of what it looks like at night lit up, you'll be able to tell that there's a big difference, because I have to keep my face down by the phone because it's blinding me from just looking at it. But you can see where that middle one is the original factory reverse light that would be on the 19, and that bottom one would be a blinker. But like I said, I made them both reverse lights. So not only with the bulbs over doubling my output with just one bulb, but I'm pretty much making my reverse lights 4 times brighter, because I'm going to be running 4 of these on this truck. Plus, since that one is a blinker on the bottom, the regular reverse light is pointed straight back, whereas this one actually points out to the side. So the blinker is supposed to be able to be seen from the side of the truck if you're, coming at it or turning out somewhere. That's the way it's made so you can see it. So I have a bunch of extra side light when I'm in reverse as well to see off to both sides, which is going to be a big benefit in a dark place. So hopefully, and then I'll sit on the brake for a second. So there you have it. Now I got to get the other side finished up. Hopefully this is something that some of you might want to do on your older trucks to kind of freshen up the rear end a little bit. Alright, before I tape everything up, figured I'd show it. So we got everything done here. Glue's all out. There's them two, and then these are going to be the extra wires for the reverse in case I add more later, like, you know, bumper lights or something else, who knows. At least I have a power and a ground, so when I put it in reverse I can tie into it and power them that way, so that should be good. You got to get some solder that fell off the bumper. That stuff will just come right off, but just wanted to show this side before I get it all taped up. I'll get a little video once I have it all taped up and back in the loom so you can see how OEM-ish it looks. And yes, this is the OEM way that they want this done on this truck. So soldered and properly shrink wrapped. The new 19 connector 6-pin wire lines up perfectly with this into those tail lights. Alright, well, we got everything wrapped up like it's supposed to, factory and wire loom, and then electrical taped just like it should be. And I add a little bit more to try to stiffen this up a little bit, but yeah, this is the harness that goes in here, is your extra wires. So in case I add more reverse later, like I said, factory connector for the 1920 models. Also, this is specific for, as far as I know, is the halogen taillights. As far as the LED ones go, I don't know. This one's not about that. I wasn't spending that kind of money to put these in. Now, I will say, let me pull this up real quick. So, I'll show you something. So, on this new one, you got the 3 stages. Whereas the old one, you got a smaller one like this, down here at the bottom, and then you got your top one for your tail light. Well, on this version, the other thing is with that light sticks out. The factory one only goes out to about right here, but mine goes out to about that far off. So when I try to put the light in on the other side, it hits right here on this section here. So it's hard to tell, but I kind of hammered this in with a rubber mallet, heated it up a little bit, tapped it in to give me enough room on that side, and it's going to give me just enough room on this side to get that tail light in for those dual reverse lights. So if you don't like banging in your body a little bit right here in the support bracket, then this isn't something you're going to want to do. But if you want to run a halogen bulb, you could just run the halogen bulb in there and, you know, do whatever. But I wanted the LED version, so I had to kind of massage this in a little bit. As you can see, it's kind of oblong, just to give me the proper clearance for that reverse light on the bottom, which is going to be this one right here. Well, there we go. 2019-2020 blackout halogen taillights on a 2018. All wired up, all done. Yes, sir. I think it looks a lot better than having those red taillights on there. I also fixed my third brake light that was out. I don't even know how that bulb got burned out. But yeah, I mean, you know, those look a lot better. Direct plug-in. Well, not direct plug-in. You got to wire them in, but it's all OEM, so yeah, I think those look sweet. Oh yeah. Well, that's definitely going to be bright when I take this outside. That's going to be ridiculous. I bet if I shut these garage lights off, this garage is going to be ridiculously bright. It's literally like having lights in the garage. That's funny. Yeah, it's bright. That's super bright. And then we'll shut them off. It's my guy. Well, and there's your tail lights. Still bright, even when it being dark out. So I think they're gonna be good. I'm gonna go hit the 4-ways. Even though they're bright, I mean, lighting up the whole back wall. Oh yeah. I wasn't sure how they were gonna look, but I mean, even coming down to eye level, more so if you're sitting in a car, yeah, they're definitely bright. And even with these now, still gonna have a nice side view of them. Well, I got to get those license plate lights too. I don't have those done. And then, so we got the tail lights done. And then I also have the front markers, which you'll see. That's the blinkers. Fog lights are factory halogen, but I got LEDs in the front blinkers too. Nice and bright. So, yep. Woo-wee. Been a long day. So, I hope all you guys enjoyed the video. If you got any questions about this, don't hesitate to comment below. Like and share if you want. But I think I'm going to officially be the first 2018 or previous generation to convert over the new gen tail lights to this truck. I have a feeling LEDs wouldn't be as bad. It'd probably be the same type of thing, wiring them up. The only difference is your brake lights would function as your blinkers. Because on the LEDs, the same thing. You have your brake light, your blinker, and your reverse lights. They're all three are separate circuits. So on the LED ones, of the 19 and 20, the brake light turns amber when you use your blinkers or 4-ways. That won't work on this truck, so that amber function wouldn't be an option. You would just have the red flashing as your blinker or brake light. But it would work the same way. I just wasn't paying that kind of money for those tail lights. So I think this looks cool. Some people might not like it. I do. It took a little bit of work. Had to source the part numbers, stuff like that. And I tried finding, for the blinker bulb, it's a European style bulb. I don't know why FCA did this, probably because it's Fiat. It's some of that Fiat crap they did. So there is no LED version of this bulb out there. There's an amber version, but it's like Amazon, eBay, China version. There's no like name brand like GTR lighting or any. They just don't make a bulb for that. So all of the real good name brand expensive bulbs don't make a bulb replacement LED for a different color. Because if they would have had it in red, I would have got it, so that way I would have had another brake light down there. But figured 4 reverse lights is pretty damn good. 4,000 lumens in reverse. Not bad at all, huh? Alright guys, thanks for watching. Until next time.